name is Muhammad Jalaluddin. I'm a professor in the Department of Agriculture at UAPB. My research program here is the specialty vegetables and spices, herbs and spices for special nutrition. And this is under the USDA research program titled Human Nutrition. I am particularly involved at the moment with hot peppers, breeding hot pepper new lines, and breeding several exotic vegetables. And the whole purpose of doing this research is to breed new varieties of hot peppers and vegetables which will have antioxidant, phenolic compounds, and other nutritional qualities that will prevent people from chronic health diseases like cardiovascular diseases and diabetes, obesity, and cancers. So this is basically what my goal is, to breed new varieties, provide nutritional spices and vegetables for people. In here I have some special hot pepper varieties that I'm growing here. These are all new germplasm. I'm trying to select varieties from here. This is one of the exotic vegetables that we have been conducting research on. This is called bitter melon. People eat this as cooked vegetables. They use broth of this to control diabetes. So we have seen that one 8-ounce glass of water, boiling bitter melon, will keep a diabetic patient for at least 12 hours. So this is, we are trying to develop varieties. I have several different varieties that I'm growing as an experiment. So we are going to evaluate these varieties, which one will be better to control diabetes. And we will have elaborate research on this.
My name is Sean Francis. I'm a graduate student pursuing a master's degree in regulatory science. My research work is focused on sweet potatoes, and I'm working on control of sweet potato insects, specifically soil insects. These include your rootworms, white grubs, wireworms. So I'm evaluating some of the chemicals used to control insects, and I'm evaluating these chemicals for effective control of the insects mentioned. The variety used here, it's the Bogard, which is the commercial variety used. And on this plot, we're currently working with 3 compounds, 3 insecticides, the Pencap, Imedan, and Lorsban. We have recommendations for use of Lorsban in the state of Arkansas, but we are also trying to work with some other pesticides. And at the end of my research, my results should help to inform the regulatory process in terms of putting out recommendations for insecticides, or for putting out recommendations for insecticides in sweet potato production. We have the plot set up here. We have the 3 treatments set up and a control plot where we'll use that to evaluate the level of control offered by the pesticides.
I'm Jahan Koo, working at UAPB Food Processing Laboratory. Here, our UAPB Food Processing Laboratory, we do add value to fresh fruits and vegetables. When I say adding value to fresh fruits and vegetables are done by simply minimally processed fruits and vegetables so that our local farmers can more profit out of minimally processed food instead of selling raw crops. So simply we use this equipment here to add value to it. For example, when we use blackberries, we make jams, jellies, or wine. Or for example, if we get sweet potatoes, we make sweet potato chips, sweet potato wine, sweet potato yams, canned products. So we fully utilize this laboratory to add value to fresh fruits and vegetables. And we try to use the crops our UAPB faculty grow in the farm.
Well, good morning. I'm Dr. David Fernandez at the University of Arkansas Pine Bluff, and what we're working on today is FAMACHA scoring for parasite management in goats. One of the major problems goat producers in the state face is a lack of useful, or rather, I should say, we're seeing an increase in resistance to the dewormers that are available for us to use, particularly for controlling the barber pole worm, which is a blood-sucking parasite and in high enough quantities can kill goats and sheep. So in order to prevent a problem with this barber pole worm, what we're trying to do is get farmers and ranchers in the area to treat their goats on an individual basis. What they need to do is bring the goats up where they can work with them. Then they're going to do a procedure where they're going to look at the conjunctiva of the eye, that's the tissue that's just beneath the level of the eye, and look at the color of that and compare that to a color chart that will let them know whether or not the animal is becoming anemic. As these parasites increase in number and suck blood from the animal, they lose blood volume, and within 37 days they can lose half of the blood in their bodies. So we want to check that conjunctiva, and as it becomes lighter in color, then we want to treat the goats for worms. But we only want to treat those that have high numbers of worms that are causing anemia. So we'll check the color. When we rank the animals, we'll rank them on number 1 for no anemia, all the way down to a score of 5 where they're very anemic and need to be treated immediately. Animals that are in the 4 and 5 range need to be treated. The 3s are questionable. 1s and 2s don't need to be treated. So when would you check your 3s? You would check the 3s when you're looking at very young goats because they're more susceptible, lactating or pregnant females because they're also more susceptible, and then once you see an increase in the number of 4s and 5s beyond 10% of the herd, that's when you're going to want to start treating your 3s. You should see an increase over the course of the warm, wet period of the year in the number of 4s and 5s and the need to treat your 3s during that time period. So we want to treat them individually. That way we're reducing the number of animals that are producing eggs, significant numbers of parasite eggs, and putting them on the pastures. We're not treating the ones that are not so susceptible so that we can create a pool of worms that are still able to be killed by our dewormers that will mate with the ones that become resistant as we treat our goats. And eventually what we would like to see is that you remove the goats from the herd that are particularly susceptible. So if you find that you're treating 1 or 2 goats repeatedly, those are the ones that are shedding the most eggs on the property. Those are the ones that are most likely to harbor these worms where resistance is going to develop, and you'll want to cull those worms from the property, or cull those does rather from the property so that they don't continue to produce those eggs, and so you essentially select goats that are more resistant to or more tolerant of the barber pole worms.
Hello, I'm Jack Abernathy. I live in Bauxite, Arkansas, and I restore tractors. This is a 1959 730 LP. It's been pretty much stripped down to the case and rebuilt. Has lots of time and lots of money spent on it. Everything is near original as I could make it, and I ran it on a dyno and checked the horsepower and pulled 55 horsepower. I enjoy taking it to shows and parades and had lots of nice comments on it.
My name is Larry Harrington. I live over Grant County, and this is my 34A. First year they built the A model, and one of the few shipped on rubber. It took me about 3 years to restore this tractor and a lot of money. My wife don't know how much. I finished it in '04, and we've been showing it around the country ever since.
My name is David Taylor. I live at Sheridan, Arkansas, and this is a 1948 Cub that I completely went through 5 years ago. This is a 44A that I completely went through 3 years ago, and they farm alls, and that's my hobby.
It's a 54 model Super C. I have done very little bit to it. I bought it like that.
I'm Joe Matthews, and this is my 8N Ford tractor. It's a 1950 8N, been restored by my neighbor and I. I'm from Sheridan, Arkansas, and this is our second trip over here, and we have been well treated and had a great time here, and I thank you.
I'm David Paxson from Prattsville, Arkansas. I own this 1953 Super 8. Took me about a year to restore it, and that's about all I can tell you about it. Thank you very much.
I'm Mamunur Rashid. I'm a graduate student of UAPB. So as a part of my master's research program, I'm doing the evaluation of these rose genotypes. Here are about 12 varieties collected from the different places. So we would like to know the sturdiness and which variety is more suitable for the Arkansas condition, because this is very hot and humid in the summer. So we are going to evaluate it. This is the second year, and hopefully this project is ongoing next year also, and after that we'll decide which one is the best for sturdiness, which one is the best for the cut flower production, and we are also doing work on the the fragrance, which one produce the most fragrance that will help to in the perfume industry. So these are the main thing we are doing here, and it's under the Professor Dr. Islam. He's my supervisor, and Mr. Lee, I myself, and Professor Islam are doing this for the last 1 year.
Good morning, everybody. It's a good weather today, and this project is our for study straight-head of rice. Straight-head disease is physiological disorder in rice, not a fungi, and this is very popular in U.S. rice production, especially in Arkansas. And if we have a straight-head disease, the yield will greatly reduce. Sometimes they get 100% loss. Our purpose for this project is wanted to first select the straight-head resistant varieties, and second, to breed in some variety of resistant straight-head. And we started this project from 2008, and first year we have 12 cultivars which worldwide used in Arkansas, and 20 new breeding line, and we make more than 150 crosses. And the next year we selected some of them cultivar and the breeding line and the F2, which is a second generation of their parents, and makes the. And after a few years, we found that 3 new breeding line is very good, resistant to straight-head disease, and that may be used for breeding purpose.
I'm Zhong Bu Yan, the breed, working in the hybrid breeding. I work in the Stargard in the rice research in the Extension Center, University of Arkansas. We cooperate with UAPP to research in the hybrid rice. Hybrid rice is a good vigor in the yield, have high yield, and also we have some high quality rice in the research. Here we plant some still land to test in the UAPP farm. Is the still plant in the hybrid breeding is very important, because we need to use the still plant to make cross with the normal restore line, get the combination in F1 in the seed in the production. Here some the still line the test here in the sometime is still line is no pollen, because we need to use still line to make some another cross. But in fall, in the cold whether he changed to the filter, get the seeds itself. So we tested here in this farm. Thank you.
And I'm Everett Harvey, Dumas, Arkansas, where I live. It's a 54 Super Seed. I bought it like this. I've done a little bit of adjustments on it, but anyway, I just like to show it. And anyway, I've got quite a bit of money tied up in it.
My name is Ken West. I live at Sheridan. I have a 1951A tractor. I bought my tractor just like it is. Didn't have to do anything to it other than put the big seat on there to ride my great-grandson on. And like I say, I hadn't done anything to my tractor except bought it. I bought it just like it is. Thank you.
This study is funded by USDA Evans Allen funds, and we are analyzing, doing an economical analysis of vegetable crop rotation to determine which vegetable rotation may be more profitable to the farmers. Farmers enroll in the direct and counter-cyclical program cannot grow vegetables on that acreage. They are prohibited for growing vegetables. To be able to grow vegetables, they set aside a plot area. The problem with that is that year after year, since they are growing vegetables on the same plot, there is a buildup of weeds, disease, and insects, and as a result, reduced yield. So in this study, we are looking at 5 to 6 cropping sequences of sweet corn, cowpea, sweet potato, squash. Those crops are grown in the summer, and in the fall, we grow fall green like mustard and turnip greens. What we observe during that period of 5 years, the soil properties changed, the pH increased, and the phosphorus and the potassium levels increased too. But the downside is that some cropping system had a lot of weeds build up over the years. For example, the sweet potato system had a lot of weeds. We have about 6 times more weeds in the sweet potato cropping system than in the cowpeas and the squash. As a result, the marketable yields have been declining year after year. The yield for cowpeas, whether it was grown continuously on the same plot or rotated with other crop, stays almost the same. But as a result of all that, the sweet potato cropping system cannot be recommended to be profitable to the farmers. We think that the squash cropping system were more productive, have less diseases, less weeds, and can be a good option for the farmer to adopt if they choose to grow their crop, the vegetable crops year after year on the same crop acreage.
My name is Ondieki Gekara. I'm assistant professor of animal science here at UAPB, and part of my work here is, in addition to teaching, is also doing research, and our research here is targeting the small limited resource farmer in the southeastern part of Arkansas. As we may be aware of, in the recent past, the feed costs have been very prohibitive, and most of the farmers who are investing into the hog business, in the raising pigs, are out of business. And the part of our work here, part of our research, is to address that problem of producing feeds that are a little cheaper and are cost efficient. In this experiment, we are comparing locally available feeds for livestock, mainly the pigs, in this part of Arkansas, we have a lot of rice, and when they clean the rice for human consumption, there's some parts that are not fit for human consumption. They call it brewer's rice. That's what we are using as the best diet for feeding our pigs. What you are seeing from this trial is that broken rice or a brewer's rice can replace up to 100% of the traditional energy feed, which is mainly corn or milo. And corn and milo are pretty expensive in the recent past because of their use in addition to human food. Corn is being used for producing power fuel, and for that reason, corn prices are kind of skyrocketing. So this is a suitable substitute, and we are trying to push this research further and evaluate how the pigs will perform when we look at the carcass quality, the eating attributes of this carcass. Once we feed them this rice, that's our part of the work we're trying to evaluate here. As it is, it looks that when we use the broken rice as the main energy diet for finishing pigs, we saving a little bit of money. Is about 5 to 6 cents cheaper per pound of feed compared to that of corn or milo. So we feel comfortable about this, and if that can be applicable, then they can save farmers a lot of resources, a lot of money that goes into feeding. Of course, we know that feed comprises about 70% of the cost of raising animals like pigs. That is, for each $1 of the expense we are using in animal production, about 70 cents go towards feed. So if we can solve the parcel of feeds, meaning we get cheaper feed, substitute feeds that is available and is abundant, like we have the broken rice here in terms of energy, then we feel that we have made progress and the farmers will benefit from work like this.
My name is Manaharan Muthuswamy. I am an associate professor in the Department of Agriculture. Now I am going to show you how we produce virus-free sweet potato plants. I am going to open this growth chamber and look at these plants. These are all virus-free sweet potato plants. We produce this plant through tissue culture. We bring samples from the greenhouse grown sweet potato plants. We cut the meristem part and we culture on the medium. After 2 to 3 months, you get the newly established shoots. So you will get both shoots and root, fully developed plants within 3 months. And once these plants are ready, we transfer to the pots. We transfer those plants to the pots, to the soil. You can see how nice these plants are growing, and we test these plants for the presence of virus using molecular techniques such as PCR. Once we confirm that these plants are virus free, we transfer to the greenhouse. This facility is a new facility. You can see inside. These materials, virus-free materials, are developed through biotechnology. We collected shoot buds, and then we use tissue culture medium to get these virus-free plants. Sweet potato are highly infected by viruses, and we want to produce virus-free sweet potato plants to improve the yield so that our farmers will benefit greatly from the work that we do at UAPB. You can see the shoot bud here. This shoot bud is resistant to viruses. So we cut this shoot bud and we plate it in a tissue culture medium, and where we developed new shoots. Those new shoots are virus resistant, virus free. We confirmed we confirmed the plants that are virus free through molecular technology. After we confirm, then we move to greenhouse for further maintenance.
Hello, I'm Obadiah Joe, the Extension Horticulture Specialist here at the University of Arkansas at Pine Bluff. And I'm here to introduce you to our sweet potato breeding project that's taking place in this greenhouse. Over here, we have our sweet potato collections. We call them accessions from all over the world. These potatoes here came to us as small tiny plants in a test tube from the Germplasm Center, and these are the materials that we are trying to breed and put into the sweet potato that we use for marketing, characteristics that have the desirable qualities. Now, once the plants get over here and we get them to grow to this stage, we have to graft the sweet potato onto a plant that is not a sweet potato. It does not put roots like sweet potato, but it has a pretty good root system. And that helps the sweet potato to grow and put its energy into developing flowers rather than the potato roots. And it's the flowers that we are interested in, so we can do the crossing, which is the conventional type of breeding. Now, this is a recently grafted sweet potato plant. As you can see from here, the union part where we've tied it, the top part is the sweet potato, the bottom part is our rootstock plant. We call it Ipomia fastulosa, and it's a plant that is in the same family with the sweet potato, but it does not make any potatoes. So once we get it to this stage, we graft it and it's successful, we move it on now onto our breeding collection, which I'm going to show you next. Okay, here we have kind of our finished products. You can see this plant has been successfully grafted from the union here down. That's our rootstock, and our sweet potato is up here. And this line here, you can see it's already very nicely putting up flowers. And it is these flowers that we use to cross with other varieties. Now, in here, we have 18 different accessions, including our Bogart, the commercial variety. We do have Vardaman. We have potatoes like Jewel, Centennial. And we're trying to bring into our commercial varieties characteristics like resistance to nematode, to root rot, and other desired characteristics. And that's why we cross over here. It's a project that takes a long time, but hopefully we'll come up with some varieties that have desirable characteristics for our commercial producers.
I'm Henry English, Director of the Small Farm Program, and along with me is Tracy Dunbar, who is the agricultural economist at the university. And what we want to talk about today is the feasibility of the economics of processed sweet potatoes versus fresh market sweet potatoes. Now, normally when we talk about sweet potatoes, selling sweet potatoes, we're talking about grades 1, 2, and jumbo. And what we try to do is we try to maximize our number one. I think last year, Dr. Dunbar and myself did a presentation similar to this, and we talked about the importance of getting about 60 to 65% number one. So the big deal in sweet potatoes has been to get to number ones. And I think Dr. Dunbar is holding an example of what is a number one, a smaller one. So this is the moneymaker when it comes to sweet potato. Okay, the number one. We want to maximize the number ones. Now recently, the consumption of sweet potatoes have really increased. I think we've had a 25% increase in the last 4 years. And the big thing that's drawing this increase is the sweet potato French fries. And with the sweet potato French fries, though, they use jumbos. We got a different market, so those big jumbo. This is basically what they use to make the French fry. And that's what's drawing this increase in consumption. So what we want to look at is a number of farmers they've had problems in making the grades. When I say making the grades, sometimes they have a problem in getting that 60 or 75% number ones. And they want to look at maybe the possibilities of just growing for this process market, of growing these jumbos. Now, what has also helped with the jumbos is that the price that they are paying for what we call, for the jumbos, a lot of times they go into what we call process, has gone up. When I first started about 20 years ago here at UAPB, farmers were getting 3 cents and 5 cents a 100 pounds per 100 pounds. No, 3 cents a pound for these particular sweet potatoes, okay, for the processed sweet potatoes. Well, now that price has jumped to, I believe, from maybe 11 cents to 16 cents, which has made it a whole lot more profitable. So what they have done is to try to get more money for the process market. They have upped the process. So they have upped the price. So what we want to see is, can farmers grow enough of these jumbos, which should be easier to grow, to be profitable? Now, we think it's a lot easier to grow the jumbos. In most cases, we get jumbos when we don't want them. When we can't get our sweet potatoes out in time, you know, they go big. And, you know, they get big and we lose the price. So what we want to look at now is maybe just growing jumbos, Now, also with the jumbos, we don't have all the production costs. There's no fee for the boxes. Sweet potatoes are generally put in these 40-pound boxes, okay? By growing them for the processing plant, we won't have the boxes. We won't have the grading, okay, the grading and well, basically the grading process. And I think that costs about $1. And we won't have to pay $1 for the brokers. So hopefully it will be cheaper, the production costs will be cheaper, and maybe the yields will be higher. So what we did was we asked Dr. Dunbar, our ag economist, to take a look at that and to put some figures behind it and to see what she could come up with. So with that, I forgot, Dr. Dunbar, would you show them these sweet potato fries? I forgot about the sweet potato fries. Okay. Like I said, this is what has really caused the increase in the consumption of sweet potatoes, the sweet potato fry. And they're going with that big jumbo sweet potato. So with that, I want to turn it over to Dr. Dunbar to go through some of the economics of it.
My name is Tracy Dunbar, and what I've done is set up a enterprise budget for the processed sweet potato, the jumbo sweet potato. The enterprise budget looks at the revenues and expenses associated with growing 1 acre of a sweet potato. The revenue that you can earn associated with growing 1 acre of a sweet potato has, on average, been increased to 14 cents a pound. And if we get 33,600 pounds per acre times the 14 cents per pound, you can earn as much as $4,700.04 per acre on growing the jumbo sweet potato. Now, the expenses associated with growing the jumbo sweet potato are around $2,500, $2,544.48. So when we subtract the expenses from the revenue associated with growing an acre of a sweet potato, the Covington brand, we come out with profits per acre of $2,159.52. So in growing this jumbo sweet potato, this processed sweet potato, you can make up to $2,159.52 per acre. And at this point, if Dr. English will turn the page, we'll look at some of the expenses associated. That's where we get this $2,544.48 figure, the expenses per acre. The expenses per acre include your fertilizer, your seeds, insecticide, herbicide, hired labor, labor for planting and chopping, harvest labor, operator labor, hand labor, diesel, gas, repair and maintenance, the storage of the sweet potatoes, as well as the interest on capital. So if you total all of your expenses up, you come up with a total direct expense of $2,400.10 minus your fixed expenses. The fixed expenses would be around $133.70 per acre. The total direct expenses plus your fixed expenses give us a total specified expense of $2,500.44 per acre. And once you subtract out the revenues that we talked about earlier, this gives you a return above your variable cost of $2,159.52 per acre. So basically we're saying with the processed sweet potato, you can earn at least $2,100 per acre on the processed sweet potato, the jumbo sweet potato, which is easier to grow because you're growing for tonnage.
And Dr. Dunbar, could you mention about the yields? What you have to do with the yields versus normal yields?
Okay, well, we find that the yields have to be increased. You would have to increase your yields. That's how you earn your money, with the tonnage. The increased yield per acre is where the additional revenue comes from.